Ever stumbled on a hidden vault crammed with, like, cryptic symbols and alchemical texts?
Whispers of a secret society.
Yeah, that's the kind of world we're diving into today. The enigmatic realm of the Rosicrucians.
Oh, yeah, a fascinating puzzle.
So we've got a stack of books and articles here all trying to decode this movement.
It's a puzzle with pieces scattered across, like, centuries, But the intrigue really starts in the early 1600s with three texts: the Fama Fraternitatis, Confessio Fraternitatis, and the Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz.
Hmm. These texts kind of just appeared out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, seemingly out of nowhere, claiming to reveal the existence of this secret brotherhood dedicated to transforming the world.
Really?
Oh, yeah, and it ignited a firestorm of debate.
I bet.
Were these texts genuine manifestos of a real society, or were they elaborate hoaxes?
Wow.
Scholars still debate that to this day.
So regardless of the Rosicrucian order's, like, actual existence before these texts, the impact was undeniable.
Absolutely, they tapped into a yearning for knowledge and spiritual renewal that was sweeping across Europe.
Let's dive into the manifestos themselves. The Fama tells the story of Christian Rosencreutz,
Right.
the supposed founder of this secret order.
Yeah.
He travels to the East seeking wisdom, and then he returns to Europe to establish the Rosicrucian Brotherhood.
Yeah, and it's a story full of symbolism.
Oh, I bet.
And it ends with Rosencreutz's death and burial in a secret tomb,
Wow.
filled with knowledge that would one day be revealed to the world.
Okay, so how about the Confessio?
The Confessio acts as a companion piece. It lays out a doctrinal framework for Rosicrucian philosophy, emphasizes their commitment to a holistic worldview. They saw the universe and humanity as interconnected.
Interesting.
They saw themselves as reformers, aiming to heal divisions in society and usher in a new age of enlightenment.
All through knowledge gained by studying nature, right?
Exactly. They believe that nature holds the keys to understanding the universe.
They were big on symbolism too, weren't they? Especially the rose and the cross.
Oh, absolutely. Those symbols represented the process of spiritual alchemy, the transformation of the self, and ultimately the world.
Okay, so we've got this mythical founder, a secret brotherhood, and talk of transforming the world through knowledge. But let's get back to Christian Rosencreutz and his allegorical journey depicted in The Chemical Wedding of Christian Rosencreutz. What is the significance of that text?
Okay, well, the chemical wedding takes us deeper into Rosicrucian symbolism, particularly their interest in alchemy. The story describes Rosencreutz's invitation to a royal wedding, which is a symbolic representation of the alchemical process.
There's that marriage to Lady Venus, right?
Exactly. Symbolizes the union of opposites, a core concept in alchemy, right? Representing the merging of masculine and feminine principles, spirit and matter. It's about achieving a state of balance and wholeness.
So it sounds like this chemical wedding wasn't your typical ceremony.
Not at all. It's an allegory for the process of spiritual transformation, refining the soul to achieve a higher state of being.
Fascinating. Now, the Rosicrucian movement seems to have had a strong connection to a specific place and time, Prague in the late 16th and early 17th centuries. What was it about Prague that made it such a hub for this kind of thinking?
Well, Prague, under Emperor Rudolf II, became a center for esoteric thought. Rudolf was a patron of the arts and sciences, sure, but he also had this keen interest in alchemy, astrology, and other esoteric pursuits.
Yeah, he attracted some pretty big names to his court. Michael Meyer, Tycho Brahe, Johannes Kepler.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the Silicon Valley of esotericism back then.
You could say that it was a time of intellectual ferment, a mixing of ideas from different traditions, Hermeticism, Pythagoreanism, even Kabbalah.
Wow, so how did these various strands of thought feed into the Rosicrucian worldview?
Well, they all shared an interest in the hidden workings of the universe, the belief that there were deeper truths accessible through observation, experimentation, and spiritual practice. The Rosicrucians drew from these diverse sources to create their own unique blend of philosophy and symbolism.
And out of this intellectual melting pot emerged figures like Michael Meyer, who wrote Symbola Aurea Mensa,
Right.
where he explored the concept of the 12 adepts.
Yeah.
Tell about them.
Meyer believed that throughout history, 12 individuals possessed extraordinary spiritual and alchemical knowledge. He identified figures ranging from Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary founder of Hermeticism, to more recent figures like Paracelsus.
And one of these adepts was Michael Sendivogius, a Polish alchemist whose life was shrouded in mystery and conflicting accounts.
Yeah, Sendivogius' story is a tangled one.
I bet.
He's credited with making significant advances in alchemy, And his writings influenced later alchemists and Rosicrucians.
There's debate about the source of his knowledge. Some claim he learned from another alchemist, Alexander Seton.
Yes, those accounts describe Sendivogius witnessing Seton perform a transmutation. Others argue that his knowledge came from different sources.
It seems like Sendivogius was a figure who straddled the line between history and legend.
Yeah, he certainly embodies that sense of mystery that surround alchemy and the Rosicrucians.
Now, shifting gears a bit, there's a fascinating connection between Rosicrucianism and the work of John Amos Comenius, a 17th century educational reformer. Comenius believed in making education accessible to all. His groundbreaking book, Orbis Pictus, was essentially a picture dictionary for language learning.
Yeah.
It's considered one of the first illustrated textbooks, and it revolutionized how languages were taught.
And Comenius's vision of universal education aligns with the Rosicrucian emphasis on knowledge as a path to enlightenment.
So it's not just about secret knowledge for an elite few. It's about making knowledge available to everyone, empowering them to transform their lives and the world.
That's a key takeaway. The Rosicrucians saw knowledge as a tool for social change.
And that brings us to another surprising connection: the possible influence of Rosicrucianism in Oliver Cromwell's England.
Oh.
This is where the historical trail gets really interesting. Some scholars point to figures like John Milton and Andrew Marvell,
Yeah.
both associated with Cromwell, as potential carriers of Rosicrucian ideas. What evidence supports that?
Well, there are hints of Rosicrucian symbolism in their works. And in Marvell's case, the publication of his poem, The First Anniversary, alongside the presentation of the instrument of government to Cromwell, suggests a deliberate connection.
So are we saying the Rosicrucians might have had a hand in shaping the political landscape of 17th century England?
It's an intriguing possibility. Of course, the extent of their influence is still debated, but it highlights the potential reach of their ideas into various spheres of society.
This all leads us to the question of how Rosicrucian ideas were transmitted across time. Secret societies and hidden networks are often mentioned.
Yeah, the idea of secret societies guarding esoteric knowledge has a long and fascinating history.
Right.
And in the context of the Rosicrucians, groups like Masonry and the Golden and Rosy Cross Brotherhood come to mind.
These organizations often operated under a veil of secrecy, using rituals and symbols to convey their teachings.
Yeah, and they provided a way for like-minded individuals to connect, share ideas, and continue the exploration of Rosicrucian principles.
This idea of a hidden lineage of wisdom passing down through these groups is certainly fascinating. And within some of these societies, there's even talk of unknown superiors guiding the group from the shadows. The concept of the unknown superiors add another layer to the mystique.
It does.
It suggests a hierarchical structure where the true leaders or mentors remain anonymous, their wisdom only revealed to those who have proven themselves worthy. Okay, now I really want to know more about these unknown superiors, but we'll have to save that for our next segment. We've only just scratched the surface of the Rosicrucian mysteries.
So we've been uncovering the origins and evolution of the Rosicrucian movement, but now let's kind of delve into the heart of their teachings, spiritual alchemy.
Ooh, that sounds mystical and complex. What exactly did they mean by spiritual alchemy?
Okay, so think of traditional alchemy. Its goal, transforming base metals into gold. Spiritual alchemy applies that concept to the human soul.
Okay.
It's about refining our inner selves, right? Turning ignorance into wisdom and fear into understanding.
So instead of manipulating physical substances, it's about working on our inner nature.
Precisely. It's a process of purifying the soul, shedding those limitations, to reveal our true potential. And the Rosicrucians believed this transformation wasn't just an individual pursuit.
Oh.
It had implications for the world around us.
So as we change, the world changes too.
They believe so, yeah. The Rosicrucians saw this connection between inner transformation and outer transformation. So as individuals become more enlightened, their actions, their intentions, create this ripple effect, contributing to a more harmonious world.
Okay. I can see how that idea would appeal to people seeking a better world. But how do they actually practice this spiritual alchemy? What were their teachings?
Well, the Rosicrucian manifestos don't lay out specific practices, but we can kind of glean insights from their writings. They emphasize the importance of observing nature.
Nature.
They saw nature as this living textbook, filled with symbolic lesson that could reveal deeper truths about the universe.
Oh, so by studying nature, we can understand ourselves and the cosmos better.
That was their belief, yeah. They saw this correspondence between the microcosm,
Okay.
the human being, and the macrocosm, the universe. By understanding those patterns and processes in nature, we can gain insights into the workings of our own souls and the divine order of the universe.
And how does alchemy fit into this?
Well, alchemy was all about transformation, understanding those hidden properties of matter and how to manipulate them. The Rosicrucians believed that these same principles could be applied to the human soul.
So just as an alchemist might use fire to purify a metal, we can use introspection or meditation or other spiritual practices to refine our inner nature.
Exactly. And this inner alchemy was seen as like a key to achieving spiritual enlightenment, which they often symbolized as the philosopher's stone.
The philosopher's stone, that mythical substance that could lead into gold.
Right. But in the Rosicrucian context, it represented something like more profound.
Okay.
It symbolized a state of spiritual perfection, that perfect union of opposites, and the realization of our true potential. It was the ultimate goal of their inner work.
Beyond nature observation and inner alchemy, did their teachings involve anything else?
Well, they placed a high value on symbolism and the power of language. They believed that words and symbols held hidden meanings, and that understanding them could unlock those deeper truths about ourselves and the universe.
It's like they saw the world as this giant puzzle, filled with secret messages waiting to be decoded.
Yes, and that's why their texts are so dense with symbolism. The rose, the cross, the chemical wedding, these all point to deeper spiritual realities.
It's a challenge to decipher their meaning, but it seems like that was part of the point. It was about encouraging people to think deeply and look beyond the surface of things.
Absolutely. They believed that true knowledge wasn't something that could just be given. It had to be earned through study, contemplation, and personal transformation. But it's not just about like intellectual knowledge. The Rosicrucians were also concerned with ethics and how their teachings could be applied to create a better world.
So it wasn't just about personal enlightenment. It was about making a positive impact on society.
Exactly. They believed in living a life of virtue and service. They saw themselves as like agents of change, right? Working to improve society and usher in this new age of enlightenment. This is where their emphasis on education becomes so important.
Because an educated populace is better equipped to make positive change.
Right. They believed that knowledge was power, and that by spreading knowledge, they could empower individuals to transform their lives and contribute to a better world. And this connects to the work of Comenius and his vision of universal education.
Yeah. His work seems to embody that Rosicrucian ideal of using knowledge for social good.
He really exemplifies that spirit, and it's striking how these ideas, which emerged centuries ago, still resonate with us today.
Yeah, we're still grappling with many of the same questions: the search for meaning, the desire for a more just and harmonious world, and the Rosicrucian perspective, with its emphasis on inner transformation and interconnectedness, offers a framework for addressing these challenges.
It does. It reminds us that real change starts within, and that as we work on ourselves, we can contribute to like the evolution of consciousness as a whole.
It's a powerful message, but the question remains, how have these Rosicrucian ideas been transmitted across time? We were starting to get into the world of secret societies and the unknown superiors. That's where things get really mysterious, right? So we left off talking about this transmission of Rosicrucian ideas. Through those secret societies and this concept of unknown superiors, it all sounds very cloak and dagger.
Well, the idea of secret societies has always captured the imagination.
It has.
But it is important to remember that not all secret societies are about like shadowy conspiracies.
Right.
Some were primarily social or fraternal, while others focused on spiritual or esoteric pursuits.
So where do groups like Freemasonry and the Golden and Rosy Cross Brotherhood fit into all of this?
Okay, well, both have been linked to Rosicrucianism in various ways.
Okay.
Freemasonry, with its rituals and symbolism, has roots in medieval stonemasons guilds. Over time, it evolved into this fraternal organization with a strong emphasis on morality, personal development, and charitable work.
But how did Rosicrucian ideas find their way into Freemasonry?
Well, there's no direct historical link,
Okay.
but there are these intriguing overlaps in their symbolism and philosophy. Both emphasize self-improvement, the search for hidden knowledge, and the use of allegory and symbols.
So it's possible that some Rosicrucians, drawn to the principles of Freemasonry, joined the lodges and brought their ideas with them.
That is one theory, and remember, we're talking about a time when open discussion of certain ideas, especially those that challenged religious or political authority, could be dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
So secret societies provided a safe space for exploration and discussion.
That makes sense. Now, what about the Golden and Rosy Cross Brotherhood? That name sounds even more mysterious.
They emerged in 18th century Germany, And they were more explicitly Rosicrucian in their teachings. They combined practical laboratory alchemy with spiritual practices, aiming to achieve both material and spiritual transformation.
So they were actually trying to, like, transmute lead into gold.
Yes, but they saw it as more than just a material pursuit. They believed the alchemical process had a parallel in the spiritual realm.
Oh, okay. So as you work on transforming base metals into gold, you're also working on purifying and perfecting your soul.
That was their belief, yes. And they saw this as a path to accessing hidden wisdom and achieving a higher state of consciousness.
I see like a common thread here with both Freemasonry and the Golden and Rosicross Brotherhood. They provided a framework for exploring those Rosicrucian ideas, often through those rituals and symbols and a system of, like, gradual initiation.
You're right. It wasn't about just handing over secret knowledge. It was a process of study, reflection, and personal transformation.
So you had to, like, prove your commitment and earn your way up the ladder to receive higher teachings.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the concept of the unknown superiors.
Those shadowy figures guiding the group from behind the scenes.
Yes, the idea is that within these secret societies, there existed a higher level of leadership, individuals who possessed a deeper understanding of the teachings, but who remained anonymous.
Like spiritual mentors, guiding the group, but without revealing their identities.
That's one interpretation. It adds to the mystique, but it also reinforces this idea that true wisdom isn't freely given. It's earned through dedication and effort.
It's like a test of your commitment to the path.
Yeah.
If you're truly dedicated, the knowledge will reveal itself in time.
And ultimately, that brings us back to one of the core messages of the Rosicrucian movement. The path to enlightenment is an individual journey, a quest for inner transformation.
So it's not about just joining a secret society and being handed this secret decoder ring to unlock all the mysteries of the universe.
No. The Rosicrucians believe that the real vault of wisdom lies within each of us.
Hmm.
And the keys to unlocking it are introspection, study, and a commitment to living this virtuous life.
It sounds like they were saying that we all have the potential to become our own unknown superiors.
In a sense, yes. Their message is ultimately one of empowerment, reminding us that we have the capacity to unlock our own inner wisdom and contribute to creating a more enlightened world.
Well, that is an inspiring thought. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from those mysterious origins of the Rosicrucian movement to their core teachings on spiritual alchemy and the role of secret societies in transmitting their ideas.
It's a complex and fascinating story,
It is.
one that continues to intrigue and inspire people today. The Rosicrucians left behind a legacy of symbolism and ideas that offer this unique perspective on the human condition and our potential for growth and transformation.
It's definitely given me a lot to think about. And if any of our listeners out there are feeling inspired to learn more, be sure to check out the resources we've linked in the show notes.
There's a wealth of information available for those who want to explore further. But remember, the most important exploration begins within yourself.
Well said. And on that note, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Rosicrucian Mysteries. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to click that like button and subscribe to unlock your mind for more explorations into fascinating topics. Until next time, keep those minds open and those curiosity fires burning.